Today we search for signs of life among the wreckage that is the Clippers season. UCLA's new football coach adds 3 players to the recruiting class while coaching his old team. And LAFC has a new manager that's low on the sex appeal, but high on the stability. Good morning. I'm James. And this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is December 6, 2025. Welcome back to Ice Station Alpha in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where yesterday it was 1 degree. Not even plural degrees, a single degree. So be it, it's the life I chose. But today's going to be fun. We added new subscribers to the Angeleno Familia. Thank you for getting in on the ground floor. We'll do our best to keep you informed. If you like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop an update. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes and look at the scoreboard, Boston 126, Lakers 105. Austin Reeves scored 36 in an ass-kicking. Look, I realize it is the NBA's most storied grudge match. Boston is an incurably racist city. I totally despise it. When I think of the Celtics, I get livid. But the big picture, the Lakers didn't have Luka Doncic or LeBron James. So this is kind of what you had to expect. Also, Memphis 107, Clippers 98. Kawhi Leonard scored 24. Meanwhile, today the Clippers are at Minnesota at 5. Chicago at the Kings at 6. Oregon is at UCLA basketball at 3 o'clock, and Washington at 24th ranked USC basketball at 3. So with that out of the way, what do you say we get to the news? I confess that I have been part of the gang of hooligans that has been cheap-shotting the Clippers damn near all season long. If you were watching World Star Hip Hop and you put a Clippers logo over the face of somebody who's covering up while he gets jumped into a street gang, I'm the guy kicking the Clippers in the kidneys. Much of this mollywhopping that the Clippers are getting, by the way, richly deserved. The roster was the oldest in NBA history. There is that scandal involving Kawhi Leonard and a sketch company called Aspiration. They traded all of their draft picks to Oklahoma City all the way up until Barron Trump runs for president. Not to mention the bloodletting with Chris Paul this week. So it makes you wonder if hope even exists if you're a Clippers fan. Maybe you've even gone so far to wonder, is Donald Sterling really that bad? Maybe you look at the Clippers and somewhere in your mind, Johnny Cash is singing, "I hurt myself today to see if I still feel." I understand. Moreover, a lot of press outlets understand because they're asking what can be done to course correct. And nobody had a straight answer. Nobody. Because you can't blow it up and start from scratch. All those picks going to Oklahoma City, you're not going to get picks back. Not for Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard's commitment to getting paid for doing nothing has made him completely untradeable. Besides, tearing it down makes your former draft pick the Thunder's lottery pick. So, the only explanation that even makes a modicum of sense, the Clippers have no incentive to tank. None. So their best hope is that they have testicles made out of titanium because that's where they're going to keep getting kicked until other teams choose to tank. The Clippers right now are just 3 games out of a play-in round, and the season's only a quarter done. There's still plenty of time. If they hang around until the trade deadline, other teams will be looking to cut talent. So theoretically, the Clippers might be able to pluck a player or two off the bargain bin who could make them a little more athletic. An NBA executive told ESPN, quote, "There are going to be several teams ahead of them in the standings that are eventually going to tank, and the Clippers will be able to pass them. They won't admit it now, but there are stealth tankers already at play. You'll be coming to me asking about the tanking epidemic in the spring, unquote. Now, I recognize if you're a Clipper fan, that may sound like pie in the sky thinking, but it is a glimmer of hope. You're not going to get a first round home court advantage, but the idea of sliding into the playoffs, no matter how bad it looks right now, that's still on the table. Let me know what you think in the comments thread. Bob Chesney knows whatever legacy he's building, it has to start by not getting any sleep this week. He coached James Madison last night in the Sun Belt Conference title game that was in Virginia, while simultaneously working the phones recruiting for his new gig over at UCLA. Now, I can't confirm that he landed 3 commitments to the Bruins while he had his headset on during the game, but either way, it now seems that there's a smidgen of momentum with UCLA football. Chesney secured commitments from 3-star quarterback DJ Bordeaux of Colorado, 3-star running back Jaden Fox, and 3-star offensive lineman Michael Price of Alabama. Now, Price had previously pledged to play for Chesney over at James Madison. If you're a UCLA fan, I understand if you're not overwhelmed, right? I mean, it's not exactly Christmas to say we landed a couple of 3-star recruits. Because you look cross town and the Trojans, USC absolutely destroyed. But some big picture viewing is probably wise here. National Signing Day looked like another dose of UCLA participating in self-harm. Because you want a recruiting class of at least 20 guys, the Bruins landed only 12. But if I had to dig a program that was buried under 50 feet of turd, the first thing I would want to do is establish that this team is going to be tough as hell to play against. In other words, you're not going to land the 5-star guys yet. You want the guys that would have a chip on their shoulder. And hopefully, for UCLA, that's what these guys have. To the surprise of absolutely nobody, LAFC promoted assistant Mark Dos Santos to the head coaching gig. He becomes the 3rd coach in franchise history, and some of the fans of the Black and Gold gave the club grief on the socials. But the only reasonable response is, what did you expect? This is the trade-off that you have to make if you're an LAFC supporter. Pursue superstar players, promote your leaders from within. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea. I don't. LAFC has a philosophy of what they want to see on the pitch. So because of that, continuity with coaching strategies absolutely matters. General Manager John Thorrington said as much in the presser, quote, "Mark understands as well as anyone what the best version of LAFC looks like. An entertaining, front foot style of play grounded in ambition, intensity, and a collaborative culture that reflects who we are as a club," unquote. If I were an LAFC supporter, which I'm not, I would not be lighting flares that spell out Dos Santos in the 3252 section. I understand. But if you look across the sports landscape, teams that consistently succeed do not always go after the big name. I know LAFC wants to be ambitious, but they don't have to go after the big name. You want somebody who fits the plan. Look, for example, at the NFL's Pittsburgh Steelers. Bill Cowher was not that different philosophically from Chuck Noll. Mike Tomlin isn't that different from Cowher, except for the obvious. If you're a longtime LAFC guy, you'd remember that Steve Cherundolo took what Bob Bradley established and made just one tweak, to the team's defensive approach, and he was able to win an MLS Cup. So if Dos Santos is like, listen, all we need is one tweak, and then we can go get that second cup, he has a case to make, guys. Besides, I would argue that filling the roster holes matter more, such as a third offensive threat, likely in the midfield, retooling the back line. The Athletic reported that Justin Herbert took snaps under center at Chargers practice yesterday. Granted, it was only a walkthrough, but snaps under center? 4 days after surgery to a broken hand. I'm going to guess that if he does play on Monday, that the line is not going to have to worry about the snap count. Basically, the moment your quarterback screams like a pit bull chomped on his privates, that's when you hit your block. You don't need to hear hike. When Justin Herbert screams bloody agony, the play is on. Omari and Hampton also participated in walkthroughs, by the way. Breaking news, Kings coach Jim Hiller is not on the hot seat. Now, you might be sitting at home thinking, wait, the Kings are currently in a playoff spot. Should that really put you on the hot seat? Hey, Kings coach Jim Hiller is not on the hot seat. You might be saying, wait a second, a road record of 9-2-4, should that put you on the hot seat? Well, I hate to be the bearer of this news. Kings coach Jim Hiller is not on the hot seat. Now, if what I'm telling you strikes you as, bro, what the F are you talking about? Exactly. Because some rando claimed Hiller was on the hot seat. And for whatever reason, that hot take became viral. So viral that famed hockey columnist Pierre LeBrun called Kings general manager Ken Holland, who replied, quote, "There's zero truth," unquote, to that. One guy that I can't even find, I don't even know who started the rumor. And it became viral that the Kings were about to fire their coach. That's one of the reasons why I keep clowning the state of American journalism, guys. He shouldn't be on the hot seat. Until, of course, he gets eliminated by Edmonton in the playoffs again. I don't know if Tutu Atwell is on the outs with the Rams. But despite being eligible to be activated for injured reserve for the last 2 weeks, they're not likely to play him against Arizona, according to Sean McVay. Atwell is recovered from a hamstring injury. He's totally fine, completely healthy. But he is now in line to miss a 6th consecutive game. Now, the scribes are calling it a numbers game. They're half right. The numbers are not the roster numbers. Oh, we have X number of wideouts and X number of tight ends. No. Those are not the numbers. The numbers are, bro, we paid you $10 million, and so far you're averaging $2.5 million per reception. Those numbers suck. Now, if Atwell misses the Cardinals game, and then he misses next week's game, the Rams will be forced to put Atwell back on IR for the rest of the season. Matthew Stafford's tattletale wife has paused her podcast dedicated to emasculating her husband. We already talked about that. But it doesn't mean that she has stopped being thirsty. Yahoo News reports, quote, "Rams star's wife's green bikini is too hard to ignore," unquote. And I kept scrolling. I don't want to come off like Andrew Tate here, guys, but even if I were single, I'm not going to stop what I'm doing to look at a married, middle-aged woman in a bikini. Stop it. Cut it out. I mean, let's be real about this. I don't support pornography as a way for single men to gain happiness. But if I were that guy who was into pornography, if you divided Kelly Stafford's age in half, you could still see a single legal woman online doing things far more provocative than wearing a green bikini. So, hard pass. Or should I say, flaccid pass. Over at USC, linebacker Matai Tagawai and offensive lineman Makai Sena, sorry for the mispronunciation of names, by the way, they both said that they will enter the transfer portal. The freshman linebacker got snaps earlier in the season, but then he vanished. Now, this could be an issue for the Trojans next year, and that linebacking last year was kiddie pool deep, and Eric Gentry is going to be out of eligibility. It also means there's going to be a chance for freshmen in this incoming class to get some quick playing time. Sena, meanwhile, was a 4-star recruit who didn't play a snap in 2 years. And by the way, you have 8 offensive linemen coming in for the USC in this recruiting class, headlined by the 5th best recruit in the country in left tackle Kenye Pepe. So one could sting, the other, sorry dude, on to the next. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about what you think is a chance for the Clippers to rediscover winning. For that matter, are you optimistic now that Bob Chesney is recruiting for UCLA? And if you enjoyed this update, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James, and we'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Cortel Queso production. Take care.